adjustable. I do get a lot of buffeting around the windshield, a lot of noise. I don't get a lot of violent movement with the wind, but there's a lot of noise right into my helmet. Hey everybody, it's Dick here. Today I'm riding the Yamaha Niken GT. This Niken belongs to a friend of mine named Scott. I met Scott through our mutual friend Bones, who I've ridden with for a couple of years now. I mentioned to Bones that I was thinking of moving some of the bikes of the fleet on and picking up a Niken, and he said, "What a coincidence! Scott just picked up a Niken," which I think is funny because every time I say I like a bike, Scott has one. So Scott came up to London to pick up another bike he was buying, coincidentally a three-wheeler, a 500 Piaggio MP3. And he let me hold on to this for a little while. For those of you who don't know what a Niken is, it's a three-wheeled motorcycle. Not to be confused with a trike or a three-wheeler that is more catered to old fat guys and people who are unwilling or unable to get a full motorcycle license. The Niken is a motorcycle. It's a full-size, proper motorcycle that requires a full motorcycle license to ride. The engineering of it has kept within the constraints of what is classified as a motorcycle. So although it has three wheels on the front, the width or the space between the two wheels is within the parameters of motorcycle classification, as opposed to those scooters or through-wheel bikes that allow the operator to drive or ride. I say drive because you can operate it with a car license, an automobile license. One of the things that also distinguishes this from other three-wheeled trikes or motorbikes or scooters is the fact that if you don't set it on its side or center stand, it will fall over. So it definitely is a motorcycle. And Yamaha has put its 900 triple, the CP3 engine, in this thing. If you had any confusion as to whether this was a motorcycle or not, this thing cooks, even with the extra weight. It is considerably heavier than the XSR 900, which shares the engine, and even considerably heavier than the Tracer 900 or the Tracer 900 or the Tracer 9 GT. It is very much a motorcycle, and when you get on it, once you get over the fact that you're approaching a vehicle with three wheels, when you get on it, you have the instinct to ride it like a motorcycle. And it's only when the motorcycle starts giving you some feedback from both of those wheels and that linkage suspension up front, are you reminded that this is something a little different than motorcycles that you've ridden in the past. So this thing sails on the highway. It's very planted on the highway. It's very fluid on the highway and at speed. It's only when you get into slow maneuvering or congested areas are you aware of its weight and how cumbersome it can feel. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of real estate up here to handle all the electronics and the linkage system underneath. It looks like it has a massive tank, but it's the same size tank as the Tracer 9, which I think is about 10 liters. Although it feels high and gives you a very commanding view of the road, I am very comfortable at stoplights. I get into the old habit of doing the old tripod, putting both feet down because I can get mostly both of my feet planted on the ground, and I'm about 5'7" 3/4 inches tall with a 30-inch inseam, so I'm not tall and I don't have long legs. So it is very confidence inspiring in that, and that's good. The low seat makes it good because of all the high up weight that makes it a bit unwieldy at slow speeds. It's here, like right here, I don't know if you noticed that, about 11 o'clock on the clock, when you're turning left, there's a threshold point where the handlebars kind of slot into the turn that you're going into. The two wheels get to a certain point, and then the suspension relaxes on the inner wheel, on the inside wheel of the turn. It compresses, and then it sends you into a bit of a assisted turn, almost like you have power steering. The closest thing I can liken it to is when you're riding a traditional two-wheel motorcycle and you have knobbies, and you're riding on knobby tires, and you get to a certain point, and the knobbies are like, oh, okay, you're turning, and it kind of clicks over. There's that threshold moment, which is a bit disconcerting. The other thing that makes it a bit odd is that you can't counter steer this bike. The nature, the physics of a two-wheel motorcycle means that if you turn it, let's say you push your handlebars to the right, you push your left bar to the right, or you pull on the bar on the right, and you turn the wheel to the right, your bike wants to fall to the left, which means when you're moving, it turns you to the left. It's counter steer. Where on this thing, counter steer doesn't exist. You actually steer this motorcycle almost as if you were riding a bike with a sidecar. It's not as much of a wrestling match as that, but it's the closest thing I can describe it as on this type of machine, on a motorcycle type machine. It's the closest way I can describe it. So if I kind of come at this and then I turn the wheel, you can see it wants to slot into that turn. So I guess that's when your counter steering instinct kicks in, because you're actually fighting the automatic steering or the assisted steering that the linkage suspension allows you. Despite the extra weight, this engine is very powerful and very responsive. It has the 3 modes like all the other versions of this engine. I live in mode 2, which is sporty enough for my style of riding, but not so unbridled and twitchy as the full sport mode. It also allows for very good engine braking and feedback from the engine and the throttle. It's got cruise control, which I've been using quite a lot on this thing, because at cruising speeds, there's quite a bit of vibration in the throttle hand. You see, right there. It's like the assisted steering. I've been told by people who have ridden this that you get very confident throwing it into curves because of how planted those front 2 wheels are. They're 15-inch wheels in the front, and it's been purported that this bike is really sticky in the curves. I haven't gotten that confidence yet. I'm building up to that confidence because I feel like the back end's going to slide out, even though it has an extended swing arm, I think, to counteract the weight. But also, I feel like the front end's going to slip out, and I get a lot of feedback. I get more feedback from 2 wheels. It's translating up into the handlebars and into the bike and into the frame more than a single wheel. I don't know if that makes me confident that I'm getting more feedback, or if I'm just more aware of the road, and that's masquerading as confidence. I don't know. So I haven't dragged the pegs as Scott or other riders have on this yet. I'm kind of working myself up to that cornering confidence. I do notice when the roads are uneven and when the surface is uneven, which is the perpetual condition of roads in the UK, if one wheel hits an imperfection while the other wheel doesn't, that information is translated from one of the wheels up into the other wheel, across that linkage. And that is, currently, that's disconcerting. Like right here. One wheel is compressing, the other wheel is sticking to the road. It's unsettling. I wouldn't say it's unnerving, but it's confusing my brain. Slow speed maneuvering is very stable. Engine braking is sublime. The transmission is typically, watch this, there we go, and then slow in. It kind of right there, like slides in. This is a very notoriously uneven road, and I came here on purpose to see if I could notice more of that behavior across the linkage and see if that's confidence or scary. Huh. Little pheasant. Another pheasant. Two more pheasants. Get on the road. Oh my God, they're all out. Get on the road. Maybe that is stability. I'm purposely aiming for individual imperfections. Oh my God. Well, there's the analog brakes. That caught me out. That was almost a recreation of my sidecar crash right into the hedge because I didn't dip it in. They claim that this bike isn't any wider than a full-size motorcycle, like a touring motorcycle, but you feel wider. You feel like you're carrying your boxes up front if you had boxes behind you on a touring bike. And the mirrors go out just ever so slightly wider than your handlebars. So you kind of have this feeling that you're gonna scrape. And they're right at car side view mirror height, which when you're filtering, it kind of undermines the advantage that you have with tall mirrors. I guess because a lot is being carried up high on this bike, they kept the mirrors low to keep the profile low. How they fixed the potholes through here. Oh, that was interesting. I hit a little off-camber imperfection here, and it kind of righted me into the center of the road. That was weird. There. I don't know if I can see it. I don't know how to recreate it without fucking crashing. I mean, stability on straights and at speed is undeniable. You can't fault it. Here, maybe I can do it here. Did you see that? I don't know. Alright, so we're on gravelly, uneven ground, tight maneuvering. It's fine. Did you see that? Oh, there. So, there. I'm not... There. So, it's just power steering. Our friends are confused as whether this is the comfort seat or not. If it is the comfort seat, it's not very comfortable. And if it's the stock seat, it needs the comfort seat because it's too hard for the riding position. You're sitting in a typical sport touring riding position. The transmission is quintessentially Yamaha, clunking into gear. I love Yamaha transmissions. They're some of my favorite transmissions I've ever ridden. There's no question of where you are, of whether you're in gear or not. It just clunks into place, very mechanical, fit for purpose. The two things that Yamaha owners will change immediately when buying are the suspension and the seats. I find it interesting that a company that is criticized chiefly, their chief criticisms against them are their suspensions, would have such an engineering exercise as making this thing. I've never thought so much about suspension on my Yamahas that I've needed to change it all that much. The only bike I've ever changed the suspension on was the Triumph. I still have stock suspension on all of my Yamahas, and I've never had cause to change it, but I'm not as picky as other riders, or I don't listen to the chatter of other riders as much as I suppose other Yamaha owners do. Uh-oh. I'm down to 1 bar on the fuel. See, what do I do here? I don't know what to choose. I don't know where to thread the two wheels yet. Let's see that U-turns. Yeah, that's fine. Nice and stable. I gotta find a fuel station. Road pass 2 on the way up. It's got heated grips, cruise control, traction control, 3 rider modes. I think it has anti-wheelie, not the weight of the front end wouldn't be anti-wheelie enough for you. I mean, there are those guys on videos who go, look, I wheelie a Niken. Look, you can wheelie a Niken, it really is a motorcycle. I don't wheelie my 2-wheel bike, so who gives a shit if you can wheelie this? Plus, even though you can wheelie this, or one could wheelie this, it's got a long swing arm. It's got the dual suspension up front. If you want to get a bike that wheelies, there's other bikes that do it much better and easier. I brought us out to the Burnham beaches here because I like puttering around here on my Royal Enfield, and I like zipping through here on the Triumph. And I thought, ooh, a little twitchy in mode 2 there around these turns. But I thought this is kind of my ideal type of riding. Go out and putter around some quick little turny lanes in the woods, get some fresh air, you know, go quick where you feel confident to go quick, dodge some horse shit. And you know, if the bike's gonna feel cumbersome anywhere, it's gonna feel cumbersome here. And although I am getting caught out a bit on some of the turns, and I think that has to do with, again, my lack of confidence with the front end, and how it is a bit bulky to turn. It doesn't, you know, you start to lean in, and unless you're giving the handlebars feedback, you can steer a motorcycle most of the time in your hips. But the kind of movement, I'm fucking belly dancing right now. And the kind of movement that I'm doing now would throw my other bikes into a turn, where here my hips aren't turning me. I have to really turn with my arms, my whole body. That's where the counter steering comes in. Once you steer it into the turn, you then have to counter steer to keep it from going all the way. That's interesting. Yeah, that was fun. Rocking it back and forth on the linkage. I really do have to be deliberate. That's the word I'm looking for. I have to be deliberate in these turns. Yeah, it glides at speed. You have to get up to speed though for it to start gliding. Yeah, I gotta really throw it in. It requires a lot of operator input. I can't tell if the additional feedback I'm getting from the other shocks is making it feel rougher, or if it's giving me, yeah, it's funny, it's smooth. It's smooth. I thought the additional, I mean, I'm getting more input, I'm getting more information, but it's not off-putting. The issue I have with the suspension is not the front. I'm being catapulted out of my seat. It's funny, it has this kind of assist, this slipper clutch or this assisted clutch where if I go to the clutch point, you can hear the engine revving. Nothing. Engine revving, then it starts to move forward. Almost like that Suzuki that marveled me way back then. Whoa! Nice deep turn into a pothole. Hey, look at that old Merc. Speaking of potholes, a 190D. That's cool. Whoa! Almost in that ditch. Yeah, the steering's heavy. When you don't think it, like you're seduced into this gliding that it does, and this kind of assistance, and then you're caught out. It's this weird, right where you need it to be fluid, which is a word I'll use to describe the steering. Right where you need it to be fluid, it becomes heavy, and you have to muscle it in. Just stick with it, stick with it. I thought I was doing a lot of correction in the turns, and I think it's the suspension feedback correcting itself. Whoa, rough road. Here we go. Yeah. Where I think it will be heavy and weird, it slides and glides. Where I expect it to slide and glide, it feels heavy. Getting less concerned about choosing my line now, which shows that my confidence is building on it. Oh God! Oh, I just kicked the ass end out. The SN just spit out at me. Whoa, Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Holy shit. Too confident. Oh my God, the front end just slid on that gravel like nobody's fucking business. Oh, and I felt the weight of it. Oh, I strained my left arm. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. I gotta catch my breath. Oh, now I'm feeling the weight. What the f***? Okay, calm down. Get your fucking hold of yourself. All right. Enough. Oh, fuck. It's been a while since I've been scared on a fucking motorcycle. If you like that video and you want to see more like them, hit like, share, and subscribe.